So you may have been reading more and more headlines recently saying a silver tsunami is on its way. Hundreds of thousands of baby boomers are retiring and they're going to sell their homes all at once, which is going to crash the housing market. So in today's episode, we're going to talk about that and then also talk about the reasons why you really can't expect that to happen anytime soon. So let's go ahead and get into it. Okay, so ever since 2011, when baby boomers started to retire, you start to see these headlines circulating in the news back and forth, on and off over the years, saying that a silver tsunami, which basically means that these baby boomers retiring are all retiring at once, and there's going to be a lot of them, and they're going to need to downsize their property because they don't want to take care of it anymore, which is going to create a massive amount of inventory on the market, driving home prices down. So today we're going to look at the actual facts, and I'm going to give you 5 reasons why you shouldn't expect this to happen anytime soon. So number 1 is taxes, and this is geared towards the section of baby boomers who have had their house for 30, 40 years, the mortgage is paid off, and they're retiring, and they basically own their home free and clear. Now, the reason taxes are so important is because in the United States, when you sell a house, there is going to be certain exemptions you have. So you basically get capital gains exemptions if you're single for up to $250,000 when you sell a home, or if you're filing jointly up to $500,000, which is great. It helps you keep more money in your pocket when you go to sell your home. The problem with that, especially in places like Orange County when property values are so high, that baby boomer might have purchased their house for $200,000 and now it's worth $1.6 million or even more. So even though they are getting some of that tax exemption, there's still a very large chunk of money that they're going to have to get capital gains tax on, and that could cost them 15, 20, 25, 30% of the overall profits of the remaining balance on that, which could end up costing them over $100,000 just in taxes to sell their home. Now, I was talking about this topic a little while ago, and I had someone comment on the post saying, why would people care about this when they're retiring, and kind of implying that as soon as you retire, you're going to die, so who cares about taxes? Well, that couldn't be further from the truth. So for most baby boomers, as well as most Americans, their home is one of their largest assets they have during retirement, and they need that asset to be able to help support them as they go through retirement. On top of that, people are living a lot longer than they used to, so if you retire at 65, you might have another 20 or 30 years ahead of you, so you need your money to last. So yes, taxes are extremely important to baby boomers when they retire, because if they have to give up $100,000 in taxes, that could be a couple years that they're not going to have income down the line because they had to give that up to the government. So absolutely, taxes are on the mind of baby boomers, and they're doing everything they can to try to mitigate those and lower them as much as possible. Okay, so the second reason you're not going to see a lot of baby boomers sell off their house in mass has to do with the section of baby boomers that still have a mortgage on their house. So because they have a mortgage on their house, most likely either they bought their house or they refinanced during COVID, which means that they probably have interest rates anywhere from 2 to 4%, like 80% of the population right now. So when you're looking at interest rates right now that are hovering around 7%, when baby boomers go to downsize their home, not only are homes still very expensive, so they might have a 4-bedroom home in Orange County worth $1.6 million, but if they're trying to downsize to, let's say, a 3-bedroom or even a 2-bedroom condo, oftentimes they're still spending more than $1 million to do that. And on top of that, with interest rates sometimes double what they're currently paying, they might be ending up with the same dollar amount in mortgage, not really saving them any money whatsoever, not to mention any fees involved to sell that house to get into a smaller home. So when you add everything up, for those baby boomers that still have a mortgage, especially ones with lower interest rates, oftentimes it just doesn't make sense for them to move. And even if they want to, they're going to be stuck in that house for a while because financially it just doesn't make sense. So the third reason you can't really expect baby boomers to be downsizing in any massive way right now has to do with where they would actually go. So if you're thinking that baby boomers are going to downsize into a smaller home, the problem with that is those smaller homes are often the most desirable homes for first-time home buyers, for first-time families. They're smaller starter homes, which means there's not very many of them on the market right now. So when baby boomers say, yes, I want to downsize my house into something smaller, they go on Zillow and they look for homes that they might like. there's just not a lot of options. So again, many of them are not just going to sell their house and hope they find some place to live. They want to know they have options available to them that are going to actually work for them when they sell their house. And with inventory so tight and predicted to remain tight over the next couple years, it's again very hard to see those baby boomers wanting to move out when there's no place for them to go. So the fourth reason you can't expect some giant wave of homes to hit the market is the baby boomer generation is spread out to almost 20 years. The baby boomers first started retiring reaching age 65 in 2011, and have we seen a massive amount of inventory hit the market? Absolutely not. In fact, we've seen the exact opposite. Inventory has been the biggest problem in the housing market for the last 5 years in a row. So yes, there are a lot of baby boomers retiring right now. However, it is spread out over a 20-year period. So they're not all going to decide they're going to sell their house at once. When they do start selling, it's also going to be spread out too. So again, you can't expect this giant wave to happen where they all decide to do it all at once. So the fifth and final reason is that the numbers and percentages just don't add up. So for instance, right now in Orange County, based on the census from 2022, only about 16% of the population is at 65 or older. And if you look at this new AARP study that just came out, 60% of those that are retiring absolutely never want to leave the house that they're in. They want to stay there until they die. Now, why is that? It has to do with a number of factors, but baby boomers are not acting like previous generations. They're sticking to their homes longer, they're staying in the larger homes, and oftentimes the reason is because maybe they have kids, they're empty nesters for a long time. However, during the holidays, they want to have some place for their family to gather, family to come back and stay with them. So they're okay keeping a hold of those larger houses to be able to have those type of memories with their family. And I see this in my personal life as well as friends and family that I have. My parents, as well as a lot of my friends' parents, still own their larger home, and that's the exact reason why. They want to have some place for family gatherings. They don't mind the upkeep. They don't mind having the extra space because they know that they have some place for their family and friends to gather when they want to have those special occasions. So again, the assumption that baby boomers are going to act like previous generations and downsize as soon as they can is just flat out wrong. And in fact, more baby boomers than not want to stay in those larger homes and actually sell. So after you look at tax implications of selling, affordability due to interest rates, very limited selection available, also having this generation spread out over 20 years, and on top of that, their behaviors do not show that they're downsizing, you can see why it's very hard for me to believe that we're going to have a giant wave of homes hitting the market because boomers are downsizing anytime soon. Now, if you want some other reasons why I don't expect the housing market to crash in Orange County anytime soon, you can always check out this video right here if you're watching it on YouTube. If not, head over to my YouTube channel where you'll find a bunch of other content on there. So until next week, stay happy, stay healthy, and I'll see you on the next show. Bye, everybody.